Yo, in this video, we'll be looking at creepy and strange TikToks that are going to make you question everything. Wendigo Hive destroyed. What is Wendigo Hive? That's a crazy explosion.
Oh God, just an update. It's up there, man. It's holy crap, huh? This is nuts. We gotta get out of here. No way. Oh God.
I wonder what that one was.
There it goes. Oh, watch it. Watch the building. There it goes.
Yo, what's today? 9 what? 1-1? Don't that look like something that happened some years ago, about 21 years ago? I'm just saying, man. Look at how that building just collapsed and everything turned into dust. Like, and that was a big thing with the towers, was where did all this dust come from? Dust and debris. You know, and we were always wondering, like, how did a aircraft knock down such a huge building with all these steel beams? This was a planned demolition right here, right? You know, everyone knew that this was about to happen, and it basically just evaporates the building. It turns it into dust. What do you think happened that day? Because when the things crash down and you look at the ground zero, there's nothing there. Couple file cabinets, couple chairs, but that's it. Where'd everything go? It just evaporated into dust. That's exactly how it looked that day too. That's wild. What is this thing? This thing look old, whatever they got. I mean, I know what that is on the inside, what the liquid is, but like, where'd they get this from? Egypt? Turning water into wine? Is that what's going on? Red wine? I need some red mercury. Look at that. that's at? Sun simulator. Oh wait, that's a different language. This is a solar simulator and has already exploded.
Watch till the end. Sun simulator explodes.
Okay, we are in Dead Horse, Alaska. This is one of my favorite sites because it always seems like it always produces stuff like that's just plain crazy and weird. So, and like I always say, you can go to this site yourself. Okay, here we go. Check this out, guys. Okay, there's the first part of the craziness, and then we will advance. Okay, it shrinks down, which isn't normal. Okay, blows up. Okay, I mean that is not indicative of our sun. Our sun does not do that, because if it did, we would be crispy. Okay, plain and simple. Okay, check it out. It even gets bigger. Check this out. Pow. Okay? Watch this. Seems like there's a little bit of a separation going on. Could be multiple things going on here, like our real sun could be actually behind it. The real sun is always behind the sun simulator, just so you know. The sun simulator is very close to our orbit, so just out of our atmosphere, because they want you to see that and not the real sun. Okay, so that you don't see eclipses, so that you don't see maybe even, you know, a planetary system moving through it. Yeah, all that kind of thing. Crazy. Okay, keep watching. What in the world? Look at this. So we went from this to this to this to that.
Dang.
Okay. And look at this. I mean, it's just unbelievable. Okay, unreal. Okay, somewhat back to normal, I guess. Yeah, I'm going to filter a few things too, just to check on anything else back there. Okay. But look at this, man. It's just craziness. Yeah. And then they just threw some clouds in just to get rid of it, so you wouldn't see any more malfunctions. Yeah. I mean, look at that. Look at that. That's just unbelievable. Okay. I'm surprised I caught it.
Y'all gotta check this post out right here. So my main reason for leaving fast food alone is due to the fact that they was always accused of mixing the meat down with mystery meat. But as you can see in this post right here, now you gotta worry about heavy metals being up in your food. And when I say heavy metals, I mean toxic, contaminated metals up in your fries, burger, and your sodas and whatnot. And I know a lot of people gonna say, not my restaurant, mine is clean. But as you can see in this post right here, it's in 100% of the fast food spots that they check contaminated food. So I just want y'all to check this video out right here, y'all.
42 fast food samples from 21 restaurants across the U.S. were sent to a lab to test for heavy metals.
But unfortunately, 100% of the samples were positive for cadmium and lead.
What?
The study was done by nonprofit Moms Across America.
Yo, cadmium and lead, that'll have you out like sick. Like, you don't know what's wrong with you. Dang, and it's in the fast food. You know what I'm scared of is that, you know, they put this stuff in fast food, right? And fast food's making money or whatever, right? But what about like the public school system? What is in that food that they're feeding our kids every day, all day? What's in that food? That's what scares me the most.
They tested the top 20 fast food chains plus In-N-Out Burger.
And cadmium was the highest actually in In-N-Out French fries.
For lead, the highest amount was found in a Sonic cheeseburger with 912% more than what the EPA allows in drinking water.
well. We need to see what that building's about.
A lot of towns don't want to talk about it because they're so embarrassed by it. In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live
I think it's like kind of odd that like a guy like me has to come out from doing what I do on a daily basis to have fun, because I see what's going on in these streets, and I see you guys just sitting up there in them comfy chairs and suits, and I'm getting out here every day and I'm broadcasting this, and you guys are just sitting up there in suits and stuff. Like, I really challenge you guys to get out here and do something. These Haitians are running into trash cans. They're running into buildings. They're running into... they flipping cars in the middle of the street. And I don't know how, like, y'all can be comfortable with this. Like, I don't know, like, who's getting paid from this. I honestly feel like someone's getting paid from it in the background. You got a bunch of people on a bus getting dropped off at a gas station to come down here. I know a single mom that FaceTimed me this morning at the welfare office that really need something. And it's nothing but immigrants over there. And I don't even want to seem like I'm coming down on the immigrants, because it's the people that's bringing them down here. Because wherever they're at, that's what they're used to, bro. They're in the park grabbing up ducks by their neck and cutting their head off and walking off with them and eating them like.
Y miren, lo último que pude ver.
Hey man, y'all can laugh at Donald Trump all y'all want about them eating cats and dogs, but when we say it about a certain people, you know what I'm saying? Like, we say, hey, you might not want to eat that happy walk. You know what I'm saying? It's cats and dogs on that happy walk. You know what I'm saying? That Wong Wong's chicken might not be chicken. You know what I'm saying? We say it all the time, but we don't believe Trump when he says it. You know, they are out here doing some crazy stuff, and it makes you not even want to leave your dog outside, you know? If you're in one of these areas.
Kenton just brought a bird from the woods. What do you have?
I don't know.
You're just catching birds now, huh?
I don't know what it is.
How in the world did you catch that?
I think it's injured. I was walking down to our fort. Then I saw it run and I chased it. Then it went up in the tree. Then I shaked the tree and it fell and it was running. Then I got hold of it and I pulled it to me.
Yeah, it's not a chicken, dude. Quit petting it.
They just out here catching birds, huh? Look, another one.
Why do you have the bird?
Say it again.
Why do you
I catch it when
Let me have the bird.
But, yeah.
I have the bird. I have the bird.
You gotta be thinking.
I know how to hold the bird. Let go of the bird.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you want to show the...
No, the bird is not your bird.
Dang, she just jacked the bird from him, huh?
Belong. I know, you're scared. I don't know what he was doing with you.
About to have bird soup later. That's what he was about to do.
Make sure you can fly okay and let you go. I feel like I'm in the Twilight Zone here. You probably do too.
Y'all want some duck soup?
This is a young seagull. It still has juvenile plumage on its head.
Mans was finna have that gold soup.
Go in the water because they're going to bother you again. I don't want to take you away from your home. Go back to your parents. I know. You'll be able to fly very soon. This bird is a baby. Leave it alone. The bird is a baby. No. Let it be.
Dang, you really out here protecting a birdie. That's crazy. I mean, I get it, though. She really a wildlife rehab warrior.
You stay away from him.
Must be out here hungry.
I'm going to show you how I would go to the moon right now. Just need a crew of those people here who are just painting the moon on a ball. We just need film crew. a film crew and some artists who are just doing those little paintings, right? And then we just need a giant board with cameras who are simulating just a moon landing, and they're zooming in into the moon crater, okay? So, and we got just those giant balls with stuff like that here, and here we got a rail with the cameras simulating approximately how we are going to the moon, right? So how we are going to land on the moon like in 1969, okay? So here are the rails. And yeah, we need an outdoor set, right? Just like in Hawaii with this giant rock in the background. But hey, we are just going to tell the people it's just for training, okay? So yeah, I'm going to drive the buggy and I'm going to present the moon lander, and we just need to do some stuff to the ground. So there are so many craters, right? Doing the artists here, right? Who are just painting the blobs and the stuff like that on those balls here, right? And yes, of course, I just need a big outdoor set like this one here. And yeah, here's the lunar lander on a crane who's lifting up for the takeoff.
What did he say? He basically interrupts and says, it's going to cool first though, isn't it? And the scientist is like, oh, that's not what the evidence shows. And he kind of laughs. He goes, I'm not so sure you know that.
It'll start getting cooler. You just watch.
I wish science agreed with you.
Well, I don't think science knows, actually.
He was saying
when he was the president?
Yes, this was just a few years ago. This is probably his last year of his term.
Well, that's what Randall Carlson has said. And what Randall Carlson said that really freaked me out, he goes, global warming's not scary. He goes, global cooling. That's what's really scary.
Certain levels of initiation through which you leave dimensionalized reality. Okay, so this is called the Betahuva key. And it's called the key because what it gives you is the literal diagram of the 12 strands of the silicate matrix gene code and how they plug into each other. Now, if you will look, I have a series of darker dots and lighter dots, and each are marked off as part of one strand. Now, the darker dots represent the magnetic heli in that strand, and it contains 12 base codes. The electrical heli, which is the light dots in that strand, contains 12 acceleration codes. The base codes and the acceleration codes have a sound equivalent. They are both subtones, and when they combine, they form a full tone. So if you combine the 12 and 12, you have 24 pieces right now, you combine them, you end up with 12 full tones. Now, what's really fun, I love this part for some reason, I think I've probably been working on it for many incarnations. When the tones are combined, so you have your base codes, which are a base tone, and you have your acceleration codes, which are an overtone. You combine a base tone and an overtone, you get a resonant tone. There's your full tone. Now, those full tones were represented in many of our ancient teachings. They actually followed some of the patternings of the original Hebrew alphabet. They were expressed in the Hebrew language. There were various languages. Basically, 5 languages are programmed into the DNA, but when it comes to the primary language that held the energy signatures, that controlled the primary 12 tones, it was the Hebrew language that controlled the 12 tones. And if there was any subtones or smaller energy imprints, there were other languages that applied to those. So if you wanted to get, in the old days, it worked that if you wanted to get control over your DNA code and how to handle it, you'd need the map, for one, to know where the strands were, what they meant, how they corresponded to these, which we'll get to in a minute. And you would need to know the codes, what sound tones these were. The sound tones were expressed in terms of the letters of the alphabet, of the Hebrew alphabet, but it has been eons since the correct sequences of those letters have been given. And many, many scholars, from what I understand, have been spending many, many eons trying to find out what the sequences of what they call the fire letters are. The fire letters which are addressed in things like the Keys of Enoch and those kind of things. The fire letters are the 12 tones, the primary 12 tones. There's many more than that, but each strand has 12 primary tones or fire letters. They're light symbol codes, and they actually start out as light. That's why they're called fire letters. They later turn to sound when they become activated in the DNA, and this is something that, this was new to me. I knew a little bit about the fire letters, but this was a new part. When the codes are not fully activated in a DNA strand, they exist within the morphogenetic field as a standing wave pattern, a scalar wave. They exist as light. When those patterns of light get intersected by certain patterns of sound, things happen. And one of the things that happens is they come from dormancy as a standing wave pattern within the DNA strand, imprint, into the active DNA strand as a dormant sound tone. But at least it's into the active physical DNA strand now. Then it has to be activated once it's there. But you can, masters of the Behuva know how to program anything in to their DNA. They can manifest anything right through their bodies. They can manifest events, they can manifest worlds. We're not that good. We're just working on knowing enough about it to be able to activate things in the DNA and to reverse mutate other things that are going to stop the activations from taking place. The reason it's so important right now is because we are entering a time acceleration. There's a condition called molecular compaction that the body will experience if it does not accelerate its particle pulsation rhythm. There's one way to accelerate the body's particle pulsation rhythm high enough to not have any negative effects from this time acceleration, and that is to activate the DNA to a 4.5 strand level accretion. That means 4.5 strands need to activate. We're still roaming around thinking we have 2, that's it. So it's important that we begin to understand the structure. It's not just, oh gee, maybe I'll play with my DNA tonight. There is a real reason for it. Now, we're not all going to fall over and die from molecular compaction. It doesn't exactly work that way. It's much more subtle. Molecular compaction occurs because during the next 18 years, there are numerous things happening, which I'm not going to get heavily into in this tape, but there are increased interdimensional scalar wave patterns moving into the Earth's grid. There are interdimensional electromagnetic wave patterns that...
I'm guessing this is pretty old. And the stuff she's talking about resonates with right now. That's crazy, y'all.
It's not used to having. We are going to get infusions of D4, D5, D6, 7, 8, and 9 frequency into the Earth's grid and into the Earth's crust and its core and our bioenergetic fields between now and 2017. If your morphogenetic field, because it's blocked by not having the right codes to allow it to expand to hold those frequencies will push in on the crystalline lattice work of the blueprint that your body is built on. And it will begin to poke holes in it, just as if you had a glass in your hand and you squeezed it too tight. The frequencies coming in become pressure on the crystalline lattice work of the body. And after a certain point, it will begin to, and like I said, it's not right away. It's not you're going to fall over and get a horrible disease tomorrow or anything. It will be a progressive acceleration of the aging and deterioration process. That's what will come of it. And it will affect everyone differently. It depends on where your DNA is. If you're of a higher resonating code and you're able to expand and take in more of those scalar wave patterns, you won't show much of the results. Some people will be able to use it to actually activate higher strands, where they're actually getting younger. They'll be in better health. But others will get stuck within the lower DNA strand counts, and the first effects would be, they said, within the bone structure. You would begin to get weakness in bone and teeth and that kind of thing. And the next would be within the immune system. And they didn't tell me after that, what would be the results. That's enough, and I've already experienced some of it myself. I've had experiences of being exposed through my experiences with the Guardians, being taken places, I've been taken through portals, so I know what it feels like. That's scalar wave exposure. And I have had things like teeth break right after. Just break for no reason. So it does happen. I'm not an example of what will happen to everybody because I've been on the extreme course because I've been taken all over the place and really exposed to interdimensional frequencies. But this is something that's worth thinking about, not getting real scared about, oh my God, it's gonna, I'm gonna die of molecular compaction. There are worse things that could happen, because as long as you know you can just get out of your body and, go on to the next level when you cross over. But we can actually learn to use this increase of energy that's coming to our planet to improve our condition, rather than to let it tear us down.
That this is actually the case. I do not believe that this country or the world in general is in the hands of normal human beings. I don't think we're being run by normal human beings. Normal people do not do to the earth what the people who are running this planet do. So it would not surprise me, I don't know, I'm just theorizing, it would not surprise me if we found that the people in power today are actually not of this world. And that would explain why they don't give a damn about human life. They have no concept of freedom, liberty, and justice for all. They couldn't care less. They are not from this world. They do not live on this planet with us. They are here to subjugate the human race. They are here to imprison the human race and treat us all as if we're nothing more than slaves in a slave camp. So I don't have any concern about the politics of the world we live in. I'm far more concerned about who really is owning and running this planet, who really created us, in point of fact. Because the man that I met back in 1959 was an extraordinary man, and I have had other extraordinary people tell me things and do things in front of me and that I saw them do that was absolutely inhuman and no human could do. So I am persuaded to believe that we are actually in the presence of alien life forms that look like us. I don't know where I'm going with all of this, but I feel it's very important, because I would not be a bit surprised if scientists and people at the very top of this world know this for a fact and are in league with aliens who look like humans. There's all kinds of stories. We've heard all kinds of stories like that in the UFO community. And for many years, I'm not talking about just recently with Steven Spielberg. Steven Spielberg is a lot of things, but stupid is not one of them. And this man has produced and directed so many UFO movies. And he did a television series, which was like, I don't know, 15 to 19 hour series called Taken. Aliens who came here who look like humans, who have abducted humans. I don't know if you have ever thought about this, but if you are going to finance Steven Spielberg movie for a 90-minute movie, you better have a lot of money, because he is not cheap. He's the best there is. And consequently, if you think about how much money it must cost to finance Steven Spielberg's movies, well, Steven Spielberg made a 17-hour television series just on aliens who are abducting humans. He's made all kinds of movies, from E.T. to Close Encounters to all kinds of different, along with poltergeists and other strange stories.
Man, so what happens is, right, these stories, they be real. And, people will have footage of it, or the information will be there. But we live in a capitalist society, so everything's for sale. Everything's for profit. Who's the highest bidder? Hollywood. They get this information, they get this knowledge. They want to capitalize off it. They want to make some profit. They want to make their money back. So then they release a series, and it has us like, and they always say that you can never really imagine anything that you've never seen before, right? Like, if I've never seen something before, I'm not going to be able to picture that in my head, or the idea in my head. Someone had to tell me that this was going to happen, or that this happened a certain way, or that it looked a certain way, and then I can kind of paint the image in my mind. But I can't just do that from scratch. What do you think these Hollywood directors are doing? They have information, inside knowledge.
What I'm suggesting is that George Lucas and Steven Spielberg are not stupid. They're trying to tell you something. They're trying to prepare the human race, and they are highly financed. They are extraordinarily well financed to do anything they want to do. So anytime, and I've lived in Hollywood for 48 years, I know Hollywood, and I know anytime you are highly financed and promoted, where's the money coming from? And why is there such a concentration on this idea of humans, of aliens who look like humans? I am just suggesting, again, I go back to...
Good morning. In the United States and across our allied countries, our focus on national defense and on national security are blinding us to everything else that's going on. We tend to see the world and the other countries in the world through the prism of military capabilities and military power. But economic power is power. Diplomatic power is power. Commercial power and industrial power, pricing power, logistics and supply chains. These are power structures of a different kind, and they're more enduring, and they run deeper. 10 years ago, China announced a plan for a new network of ports. It was called the Maritime Silk Road, and the name itself has a lot of historical significance here in Asia. Just 10 years ago, that's all. At the time of the announcement, China had investments in 44 ports across the world. Now it's over 100 in 50 countries. This is from the Washington Post. The Silk Road was aimed at improving China's access to the world markets. The investments have slowed down since because of slowing growth and the U.S. pushing back. No, the investments have slowed down because they're almost done. These ports are almost finished. They're operational now and producing.
Mm-hmm.
This is the report from the Council for Foreign Relations. China owns or operates 115 active projects across the world. Of those, just 14 could be purposed for military use. So 14 out of 115. Here's a map they've put together. The darker colors represent a higher percentage of ownership by Chinese companies. The triangles are the bases that can be used by military ships. And it is a nifty interactive map. We can put our cursor over the shapes and it goes into detail port by port. So here's Brazil, a BRICS country. Potential for naval use is uncertain. They don't know if China can use it for warships or not, but here's what we do know. China put in $700 million. And since that port's been done, China is now the biggest buyer for most of Brazil's beef and chicken and soybeans. Council of Foreign Relations and the Army War College are trying to figure out why China dumped all this money into a port if they can't bring an aircraft carrier in. Meanwhile, Brazil is putting our Midwestern farmers out of business. So there's $700 million at São Luís mega port. At Paranagua, it's $920 million. And that port can serve all of southern Brazil and Paraguay. If you're South Brazil, a U.S. Navy pulling into Paranagua is of no interest to you whatsoever. A container port is something else. It means markets and jobs and low-cost products coming in and exports going out. Just looking at a few more in South America, Pacific. Ecuador, $110 million. Chancay, Peru, $230 million. Newport, Peru, $410 million. This is from Lazard. This is a fantastic report. It runs over 40 pages, and we reference it a lot. Chinese exports to the United States were falling at the time the report was published. Exports from China to the U.S. are not falling anymore. They've since rebounded and hitting records. Anyway, Chinese exports are rising to everywhere else. China exports more to the Belt and Road Initiative members than to the European Union, the United States, and Japan combined. Last sentence. This illustrates China's deep trade links and the difficulties in dislodging them. It's not just Chinese exports, it's other countries that are importing. These are trade relationships that are being built across markets in the world. In the United States and Europe, we are not in them. Back to the Washington Post, where they're talking to military experts instead of business people. The U.S. is still the biggest military power in the world. We have 750 overseas bases. China's got only one. But the Army War College is focused on whatever military purposes may be served by these maritime Silk Road ports. The expansion is critical to China's economic power, but also to their military potential. It's not a coincidence. There is a strategic aspect to these ports. That's their conclusion. But the commercial aspect is the strategy, and it's everything. What should we think most of the world's countries are hoping for? To become part of our network of 750 overseas bases? Or part of the new economic bloc that they're being stitched together? 150 countries or so that are not members of NATO. As of last September, China had signed 70 shipping agreements with 66 countries. And here they say again, China is not a global naval power, and they have few overseas naval bases. But they're focused on everything else. Here are the countries ranked by total Chinese FDI into the ports. Tanzania, number 1. Australia, number 2 at $8 billion. Those are giant mining countries. The far right column is whether these countries are part of the Belt and Road Initiative. Australia is a no. Israel is a no. Everyone else is in, looks like. Who are some of the yeses? Saudi Arabia, yes. South Korea, Thailand, Kenya. The United States has military bases in those places, big ones. Maybe in some of these others too, but they're Belt and Road countries. Washington Post again, China's port network presents a different challenge to U.S. security interests. It's the world's premier commercial maritime power, and now they have a strategic hold over parts of the world, and they could restrict U.S. troop movements, freedom of navigation if they so choose. They are an asymmetrical threat. Our experts in Washington and Europe are looking hard at these maps right here, and they're writing papers about how easy it would be for China to go from one overseas military base to 15. And these experts have all missed the elephant in the room, the most important economic story since the Industrial Revolution, maybe longer than that. These are supply chains and logistics facilities, not only for China, but for their entire new trading bloc. And it's already bigger than ours. These are China's ports, but they're BRICS markets in friendly countries. And those ports mean jobs and exports and imports, tax revenues for their governments to operate, money for schools and hospitals and municipal projects. That's power. That is hard power that smaller countries understand and they want to share for themselves. So South America is joining the Belt and Road and BRICS. So is South Asia, so is Africa, so is the Middle East. And China is doing more business with all those countries than with North America, plus Europe, plus Japan combined. This is the Yili grasslands, Xinjiang. Be good.
So, y'all ready for BRICS versus NATO? Man, that's going to be something crazy, ain't it? Because that's what it seems like it's coming down to. You've got all these different countries picking a side. And at the end of the day, there can only be one person on top. You know what I'm saying? Man, I mean, shout out to China for, setting up all this stuff. And I feel like they are going to be helping out other countries. Whereas, the U.S. tries to basically take from these other countries. But who knows? We have to wait and see what China's going to really do, what their real plans are at the end of the day.
It's a very dangerous subject to talk about in public because there are ways to do it, but you have to understand what you've gotten yourself into. But
all right, I guess I'll read this first, guys, because it's kind of hard to read and listen at the same time and then comprehend both things. You know what I'm saying? You ever talk to a person who be on their cell phone texting and then they just like, and then you ask them, what did I just say? They're like, huh? Exactly. Jail. U.S. state citizens. System opt-in out driver's license. This is why I tell people to opt out and go private. I myself do not have a driver's license. I have used my own method with the passport that places you on the do not detain list. Oh, your boy can't read. Let me start that over. I have used my own method with the passport that places you on the do not detain list. You don't need to register your car ever. You can obtain car insurance with the passport as well. And you can also beat court and not step foot in court. I have documents separate method if fighting a case. Because you are out of the jurisdiction, my dot places you as a private traveler. You can never get locked up. Understand, if a warrant is placed, it will be put on your driver's license, not on your passport. Again, you are out of the jurisdiction. U.S. citizens can be placed in jail, and American nationals cannot understand common law. You must know your rights living in private. I have my very own dot plates on my car. I've been followed when they know they can't do anything. They drive off pissed. We the people claim what's yours. We do this. If interested in the process, click the link in the bio. You receive full immunity with the passport and dot plates method. So we need to be American nationals, not United States citizens. There's a difference.
You have to know how to do it correctly. But once you do that, you opted out of a system, and that system runs the planet, and you just dropped out. You just dropped off. So now, you've got certain privileges now. The federal government has no jurisdiction over you. If they stop you, and see, that's another problem with state citizenship, is because you cannot have a driver's license, you cannot have anything on your car, you can't have any kind of identification that connects you to the federal system. That being the case, once you opt out of the federal system, you're going to be out there by yourself, and there's no one going to be able to help you on anything. However, I would go on to say this. I know many people who are state citizens today, and they're doing it somehow. I don't know how they're doing it, but they're doing it. I know doctors who are state citizens. I know dentists who are state citizens. People who own dealerships who are state citizens. They are doing it lawfully and legally. And I was going to add the problem, though. Another problem, very big, is that if you are a state citizen, you cannot have a driver's license or a tag on your car. So if you drive out into the street with no license and no tag on the car, and you don't need insurance because that's only federal, you don't need insurance. And so you are stopped. You have no license, no tag on your car, and no insurance. You go into jail, and you can show them all the paperwork that is you're a state citizen. The cops can't read. They are goofy. The cops are thugs. They don't care about what the law says. The police in America are nothing more than the heavy arm, like the mafia. They're the street soldiers.
They're the enforcers.
They're the enforcer. That's why that's called the armed forces. So that's why cops today are there for one reason, to make sure you are in compliance. They don't ask you, they don't know what the law is. Half of them can't read. So they don't know what the law is. They don't care about the law. All they know is that they're being paid a salary to do one thing, to make sure you're in compliance with Berlin. They're making sure you're in compliance with the powers that be. And you say, well, why are you as an American treating me, a fellow American? They're not Americans. They're cops. They don't give a damn about America. They don't care about your rights. You don't have any rights. As a U.S. citizen, you have no rights. You do not have access to the Constitution or the Bill of Rights. That's in the law books. So if you say that you are a U.S. citizen, you, by law, do not have access to the Constitution or the Bill of Rights. So that's why it always amazes me when I'm hearing people who are going to court and they're going to demand this and that because they have a constitutional right. Read the book, read the law book. It says if you are a U.S. citizen, you have no recourse to the Constitution or the Bill of Rights. So don't even bring it up. You are a U.S. citizen. That means you are an employee of my corporation. You just sit down and shut up. When you're in court, you got nothing to say. The problem is that if you become a state citizen and you don't have the driver's license or whatever, you're going to get stopped. You're going to go to jail. Now, you'll be in there for about 6 weeks until they finally get you into court. And then if you know how, if you're smart enough to know how to talk, and you've got the documents, and you can show the judge, I am lawfully, according to your law, I am a California state citizen, I'm a Nevada state citizen, and here are the documents, and you enter that into the court, the judge will always say, you're right, the case is dismissed, because you're right, you are a state citizen, and the judge has no jurisdiction over you, and so he releases you. Yeah, but you were sitting in jail for 6 weeks waiting for that, and now you finally won the case, which you will. You get in the car to go home, another cop's going to stop you. Start all over again. You're not even going home. You're going back to jail. Now it starts all over again. So you're going to be there for another 6 weeks until it will never stop, because there's always going to be some cop out there who cannot read. He doesn't know anything about law. He has no comprehension of what you're talking about, sovereignty or state citizen. That's all, that's all Greek to him. All he knows is you going to jail. That's all he knows. He gets paid to do one thing, throw you in jail. That's it. You got a problem with that? Speak up. But
man, That's crazy. But that is good to know. But it is messed up. I mean, when you live in their system, they can still do whatever, regardless of what paperwork you got. You know, imagine them pulling you over and you're like, you ain't got no rights to take me to jail. They're going to say, yeah, right. You ain't got no rights either. Come on. And you're going to jail. Like, what you going to do? Strong arm a police officer? We know how that goes.
Did you guys hear about what Kroger had the audacity to say today while being questioned about price gouging? You know, that thing we've all been surviving for the last little while. Everyone's calling it inflation, but we all know deep down it's much bigger than inflation. These companies, these greedy damn fucking companies, have been gouging the sides of us any which way they can for profit. But you know what Kroger said while they were being questioned? It's kind of their new tagline. And I hope you remember this when you're not shopping there, because none of us should be shopping there. Never let a good crisis go to waste. So, Mom, while you were wondering how you could afford diapers and formula, and Dad, you were struggling working extra hours because it costs so much to put food on everybody's table, these companies were laughing their asses off basically at us, and now they've been caught and they still don't care. Crazy, huh?
Good news is that there are herbs that will kill fungus, kill mold, and will not kill you. One is garlic, it's well known. Another is olive leaf extract. Olive leaf extract contains a plant chemical called oleucin, and it is strong antifungal. One lady said, oh, I take a little bit of that every day. I said, I would not advise you do that. That's like taking a little bit of antibiotic every day to prevent a cold. No, keep it for when you need it. Also, grapefruit seed extract. Grapefruit seed extract is a very strong antifungal, and if you do use it, my suggestion is only a few drops 3 times a day. You can buy it in a little container called Traveller's Friend. It's called Traveller's Friend because many people travel with it. They just put 1 drop, say, in a bottle of water, and it will kill off any bacteria or fungus that may be in there. Another one is Portiaco. It's a South American herb that is quite strong antifungal. When people are looking at eliminating yeast from the body, I say it's a good idea to work with a professional, a naturopath. But what I advise is maybe 2 weeks on this, 2 weeks on this, 2 weeks on this, 2 weeks on this. Body gets used to things, so it's good to alternate.
Is he trying to tell us?
Of mathematics and music.
Mathematics and music?
Ah, you'll find mathematics in the darndest places. Watch. You can imagine how excited Pythagoras was when he shared his findings with his pals, a fraternity of eggheads, known as the Pythagoreans. They used to meet in secret to discuss their mathematical discoveries. Only members were allowed to attend. They had a secret emblem, the pentagram. Hidden within the pentagram is a secret for creating a golden rectangle, which the Greeks admired for its beautiful proportions, and we find it in their classical architecture. The Parthenon, perhaps one of the most famous of early Greek buildings, contains many golden rectangles. These same golden proportions are also found in their sculpture.
Them golden proportions is what is all throughout the whole Tartarian Empire. Dang, they put it in our face right then.
This person and this person is one and the same. Whoa. This is the god Hanuman. He's celebrated all over the eastern part of the globe. Well, when you say Asia, from India to Asia, they celebrate the Monkey King. But we got problems with monkeys because we've been called monkeys. But nevertheless, this is who James Brown actually was. I'm going ahead of myself. We're going to have to get into this particular science because I done called James Brown a monkey. So we're going to have some explaining to do. But we're talking about symbology. This is actually the god, this is actually the Egyptian god Tahuti is who this is. Wow. Thoth or Tahuti. The Egyptian god Tahuti, Thoth, or what you get the word, Greek word is Thoth, where you get the word thought from. Tahuti. So the East Indian form of Tahuti is Hanuman. You see, so it's not necessarily, he was a genius. And I'm glad I said it on my tapes years ago, that this man was a genius. I'm going ahead of myself. We're going to dedicate this to him based on a certain amount of energy. Now, this is not just to say, well, how the hell is that going to help me? Because his energy was the embodiment of Tahuti or Hanuman, you can tap into that energy by invoking him through his music.
So I tried a new experiment. And I put a bunch of magnets in a bowl. It's only been freezing for like 3 hours, but there's 5 magnets in there. There is one on the bottom. There is one on the bottom. What is happening? Magnets clearly affect water. I'm not sure how. I don't know the science behind it, but
well, water has more in it than literally just H2O. That's probably tap water, you know, and it's probably all type of chemicals or whatever else in that water, minerals, added minerals for taste. Who's seen that on a bottle of water before? So there's all type of things in that water, and that's probably why magnets are able to influence it.
this is I mean, proof of the firmament?
I don't know how it's proof of the
This
firmament.
should scare you. Watch this.
Developing news from Oxford, officials at a Board of Health meeting have approved a recommendation to issue a 6 p.m. curfew to keep residents safe from high levels of EEE.
Ridiculous.
People at that meeting not happy.
Please don't do this to our kids.
800 people signed a petition.
Officials approving the recommendation say they aren't banning people from going outside, but instead putting safety measures in place. They suggest the 6 p.m. curfew lasts until September 30th, and starting October 1st,
when are we going to wake up
curfew
and
will
realize they're
shift to
not
5
out to help you? They're not all concerned. We want to help you. They want control. If they wanted to help you, they would start by cleansing your food that's poisonous that you eat at the store, but they don't care about you. That's why they allow you to smoke cigarettes and drinks. The reality of things is control, and we need to stand against this because it's us, the people, that have the power, not them. And if you believe that, subscribe for more truth like this.
Nah, for real. Man, I think that last guy said it best. It's all about control. They don't really care about us as a people. They don't care about our health or our well-being. You know, if they did, we wouldn't be in the position we are today. But they don't. It's all about control at the end of the day, y'all. But yeah, these are some of the most strange and bizarre TikToks that are out there. If you like the content, don't forget to subscribe, turn your notification bells on. Until next time, YouTube. Peace.